Imagine for a second that you are standing on a beach. You pick up a single grain of sand. Now, imagine that every other grain of sand on every beach on Earth represents a star in the observable universe. Image, cinematic wide shot of a vast, golden sandy beach at twilight with a starry night sky above. That tiny grain you are holding? That's our sun. The rest of the beach is just the neighborhood. Image, close-up of a human hand holding a single grain of sand against a dark background, transitioning into a digital recreation of a galaxy. The scale of the universe is not just large, it is incomprehensible. Our minds were evolved to track predators and gather berries, not to map the curvature of spacetime or understand the billions of years that preceded our existence. Image, a dense cluster of stars and nebulae in deep space, glowing in shades of purple and gold. Yet, here we are. A species that has only existed for a fraction of a blink in cosmic time, trying to decipher the rules of a game that started 13.8 billion years ago. Image, a high-resolution depiction of the Big Bang, showing a rapid expansion of light and energy. What if I told you that the silence we hear from the stars isn't a lack of life, but perhaps a sign of something much more profound? Image, a lone astronaut floating in the vast darkness of space, tethered to a small station. Tonight, we explore the architecture of the cosmos. We aren't just looking at stars, we are looking at the mechanics of existence itself. Image, time-lapse footage of the Milky Way rotating over a silhouette of a mountain range. To understand the universe, we have to stop thinking about distance in miles or kilometers. We measure in light years. A single light year is 6 trillion miles. Image, a digital visualization of light rays traveling across a vast, dark void between two galaxies. The nearest star to us, Proxima Centauri, is 4 light-years away. If you could drive there in a car at highway speeds, it would take you nearly 5 million years. Image, an artist's rendering of a red dwarf star with a small, rocky planet orbiting it closely. And that is just our next-door neighbor. Our own galaxy, the Milky Way, is 100,000 light-years across. Image, a panoramic view of the Milky Way galaxy, showing the swirling arms and bright central bulge. Inside this spiral, there are between 100 and 400 billion stars. Most of them have planets. Image, a conceptual image of an exoplanet with water oceans reflecting the light of a nearby star. If even a tiny fraction of those planets harbor life, the universe should be screaming with signals. It should be a crowded, noisy, chaotic place. Image, a radio telescope dish pointing toward the deep, dark expanse of the night sky. But when we point our most sensitive antennas toward the heavens, we hear nothing. Image, a visualization of a radio wave signal fading away into the static of the cosmic microwave background. This is the Fermi Paradox. It is the contradiction between the high probability of extraterrestrial civilizations and the complete lack of evidence for them. Image, an illustrative graphic showing a silhouette of a human standing in a vast, empty field of stars. Why is the universe so quiet? Is life rare, or is it just fragile? Image, a close-up of a petri dish with glowing microscopic organisms inside. To find the answer, we have to look back at the dawn of time. After the Big Bang, the universe was a hot, dense soup of particles. Image, abstract representation of early universe plasma cooling down to form gas. It took hundreds of millions of years for gravity to pull the first clouds of hydrogen together, igniting the first stars. Image, stunning CGI of a massive star collapsing and exploding into a supernova. Those stars were the factories of the universe. In their cores, they fused simple elements into carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen. Image, a vibrant, multicolored nebula, commonly known as a stellar nursery. When those stars died, they scattered those elements across the cosmos, seeding the ground for future planets and, eventually, biology. Image, a swirling protoplanetary disk of dust and gas surrounding a young star. Every atom in your body, every iron molecule in your blood, was forged inside the heart of a dying star. You are literally made of stardust. Image, a human eye reflecting a galaxy, blending biological structures with celestial bodies. But even with the right ingredients, life is an outlier. It requires a stable star, the right distance, and enough time. Image, an animation showing a planet moving through the habitable zone of a yellow sun. Here is where we reach the midpoint twist. What if we are not early, but late? Or perhaps, we are just the first. Image, a clock face spinning rapidly, with years ticking by in the millions. Astronomers often look for older stars to find older civilizations. But current models suggest that the conditions for life-supporting planets only became ideal relatively recently in cosmic history. Image, a digital map showing the distribution of planets across a vast segment of the galaxy. If we are among the first complex civilizations to emerge, that explains the silence. We are the explorers who arrived at the party before anyone else. Image, a single, glowing point of light surrounded by darkness, representing humanity's beacon. But there is a darker possibility, the Great Filter. Image, an artistic interpretation of a filter, a wall or barrier, standing in the way of civilization. The Great Filter suggests that at some point in the evolutionary process, there is a barrier that is nearly impossible to pass. Image, a path of evolution showing single cells, complex life, and finally a technological society. Maybe the hurdle is the jump from simple cells to complex life. Or maybe it's the transition to an intelligent, spacefaring society. Image, an image of a futuristic, domed city on a barren, alien-like planet surface. If the filter is behind us, we are incredibly lucky. We survived the odds that destroyed everyone else. Image, a glowing, golden DNA strand floating in a void of space. But if the filter is in front of us, if we are destined to destroy ourselves through climate, war, or technology before we can colonize the stars, then the silence makes perfect sense. Image, a symbolic graphic of a clock ticking toward midnight. The universe is a graveyard of civilizations that couldn't beat the odds. Image, a field of abandoned, derelict spacefaring structures drifting in a cold nebula. Think about how far we have come in just a few hundred years. We went from horse-drawn carriages to landing on the moon. Image, archival footage of the Apollo 11 mission lunar module landing. We have the capacity to monitor the entire electromagnetic spectrum. We can see through dust clouds and look back in time. Image, a long-exposure shot of a deep-field galaxy survey showing thousands of distant objects. And yet, our reach is still so limited. We are like ants on a sidewalk, unaware of the highway that sits just a few meters away. Image, close-up of an ant crawling on concrete, with the blur of a busy street in the background. The scale of the universe keeps us humble. It reminds us that our political borders and local struggles are invisible from the perspective of orbit. Image, the famous pale blue photograph taken by Voyager 1 from the edge of the solar system. Even from just outside our own atmosphere, those borders vanish. Earth is just a fragile, blue marble suspended in a dark, empty ocean. Image, a high-definition view of the Earth from the International Space Station. The irony is that as we learn more about the universe, we learn more about our own fragility. Image, a scientist working in a high-tech lab, surrounded by computer monitors displaying complex data. The universe doesn't care if we survive or not. It is governed by indifferent laws of physics. Image, a massive black hole with an accretion disk, bending light around it. Entropy is the ultimate dictator. Over trillions of years, every star will burn out. Every galaxy will drift into isolation. Image, a dark, cold galaxy, flickering as the last stars exhaust their fuel. The universe will eventually reach a state of heat death, where no energy can be transferred, and time itself loses its meaning. Image, a vast, empty, black screen with a single, tiny, fading light in the center. That sounds depressing, but it should actually be the opposite. Image, a child looking through a telescope at a bright, clear night sky. Because the fact that we exist at all, in this specific window of time when the stars are still bright, is an incredible statistical anomaly. Image, a close-up of a human face looking up with wonder, the stars reflected in their eyes. We are the universe's way of knowing itself. We are the witnesses to the show. Image, a rapid montage of human history, ancient cave paintings, industrial cities, and space launches. Whether we are alone or not, the mystery is what keeps us moving forward. It's what pushes us to build bigger telescopes and faster rockets. Image, a conceptual design for a future starship traveling at high speeds. We are driven by a primal need to understand the dark. Image, a lighthouse beacon shining across a dark, turbulent ocean at night. The silence of the universe isn't a wall. It's a canvas. Image, a blank white canvas slowly being filled with ink, forming a star map. It is a blank space waiting for us to fill it with our presence, our curiosity, and our legacy. Image, a wide shot of a human silhouette walking toward the horizon of a vast, alien landscape. In the grand scheme of 13.8 billion years, we are the new arrivals. Image, a sunrise seen from the surface of an alien planet, casting long shadows. The party hasn't ended. In fact, for us, it is just beginning. Image, a digital rendering of a human colonizing a distant world, terraforming the surface. So, the next time you look up, don't just see the darkness. See the potential. Image, a stunning, full-screen wide shot of the Milky Way arching over a quiet forest. See the billions of opportunities that haven't been claimed yet. Image, a close-up of a radio telescope dish, reflecting the stars in its metallic surface. We may be small. We may be silent for now. Image, a wide shot of the Earth floating alone in the beautiful, dark void of space. But we are here. And we are looking. Image, a final, fading shot of the universe, with stars gently pulsating. And maybe, just maybe, someone else is looking back. Image, a title card with the channel's logo and a subscribe button overlay. Thank you for journeying through the cosmos with us. If you enjoyed this dive into the unknown, consider subscribing for more explorations into the nature of our reality. Image, a simple screen with text that says, "What would you do?" Comment below. The universe is vast, but curiosity is limitless. Keep looking up. Image, a beautiful final shot of a nebula, slowly fading to black.